What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,700 episodes and growing. I appreciate you guys so very much for all of your love, all of your support. It makes a huge, huge difference. And today we have the pleasure of having with us today, all right, actress, writer, director, producer, the name and the words go on and on and on for this phenomenal woman, the wonderful Erica Nicole Malone. Hey, Erica.
Wow. You're like the most amazing announcer. Thank you.
Thank you. I've had a little work, I've had a little practice here and there.
I need you as a soundtrack for my life.
Hey, count it in, girl. I'm ready. Just let me know. Send me my script. I love it. So, Erica, where are you from? Where do you represent?
I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and travel back and forth to LA.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm in West Coast now, but I'm a Southern girl at heart.
Okay, cool beans. So, what was your dream career when you were a kid?
Actually, I was, my goal in the very beginning, when I was about 10, I was going to be an ebony fashion show model.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Back when I was 10, that was the pinnacle. And so I got into modeling and pageantry, and I won several pageants and did modeling, up until, but then in high school, around 13, I was still doing modeling all through high school, but I started, I auditioned for the Youth Performing Arts High School in Louisville, Kentucky, and then I got in as for the theater program, and I stayed in theater for 4 years, and then my senior year, they asked me to take a playwriting class. A lady by the name of Pat Allison asked me to take a playwriting class, and started realizing how much I loved writing, and didn't even know that I had that gift, really. I mean, I knew I had the gift. I started really early when I was about 6, writing poetry.
Right.
And my mother, was getting me around other writers who were older who were helping me, but I just didn't, I don't know if I understood the level until I took that playwriting class. And I wrote a play in high school and produced that play and realized not only did I like writing, I liked producing plays. So I started producing plays for college and that was really for the next 23 years.
Wow.
And then my 2015, I wrote a sitcom pilot called Ward of the State, starring Janet Huber, the original Aunt Viv, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, and she was phenomenal. It was about a rich heiress forced to move in with her middle-class daughter after the heiress loses all her money. And just realized, wow, I really love writing and creating and in terms of television I started doing that, and I've written several scripts, including, I Remember Me, the Mahalia Jackson story, Dreams of the Edge is a short that's going around film festivals right now, and then several other projects. I have a new biopic I wrote, so I can't discuss yet, that's being produced by a studio. So it's just been a roller coaster. It's been a good roller coaster.
Absolutely. Now, you are notable for building some complex, really relatable characters. Where do you get the inspiration to make those people come to life?
I spent so much time with my grandmother and her friends when I was staying with her on the weekends when I was about 7 to about, 14. And those are my, outside of my mom, those are like my best friends. You hang out, you go to bingo, you go to the Man Problems. And I think I'm an old soul, but I just really was a listener. I think to me, to build complex characters, you have to be a listener.
Yeah.
And, so one thing I realized really young was that older people still live when they're older. They still love, they still have heartbreak, they still have dreams. So hence where Dreams from the Edge came from. But So I think a lot of those complex characters, I just realized I'm meeting so many amazing Black women and so many amazing men and women of all races. But I mean, I think that's what builds those complex characters.
I love it. So for you, what was it like entering this very male-dominated entertainment industry?
It was challenging, but I think my mom was such a, in a sense, I think she sought out to make me a warrior because I'm so sensitive and so caring, and I was in a sense delicate.
Right.
And I think for her, she felt like she had to throw me into the wolves and throw me a sword. So like, as a Black, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, as a Black woman, we don't even have the luxury of fearing anything.
Right.
We have to jump into what we fear, and or jump into what intimidates us. And so that mentality has kind of stayed with me. So basically, that's the person I've been. And so my mother had brothers. I grew up with brothers, so I just never really thought in my mind that because a man is a man, that somehow I'm inferior. And, I honestly think, we're all equal, of course, but I think there are some strengths in being a woman. I think we know how to juggle more, especially Black women. We know how to juggle more. We have to juggle children. Yeah. We have to help keep the family together. We have to, balance, work-life balance with kids and work. And Black women, that people rarely feel sorry for us.
Yeah, the list goes on and on. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it, Erica.
Right? And so these are strengths, though, because we don't look for validation. We just go do it.
Exactly.
So, so I guess that's why I just don't, I literally just don't have any thought process in my mind. Being in a male-driven, and it is male-driven, I think it's unfair, but I'm just not going to allow people to treat me any less.
Absolutely not. And that's why you've continued to soar, and all the opportunities that you've been given, you've taken them and you've made your lemonade out of those little lemons that they gave you. It was like, oh, she ain't going to do nothing with that. She can't do nothing. Well, let's go ahead and toss her those lemons, see what she going to do. And you get to, your career spans, so much, and you get to, you just encompass so many different people and so many just amazing projects. So the next thing I want us to talk about is this project, Della. What can you tell us about Della?
Della is a project that is about basically a woman that's a hero and a villain in a sense, in that she helps protect women from domestic violence, but she also has a dark past and a dark, and this is a somewhat biographical in that we had a relative that, and she was wasn't a relative, but she was what you call Aunt Della, and protected my mother during a dark time. So I created this character, and she's an amazing woman. I'm excited to talk about that because that's the project I'm working on. So it's just, finding out, I just think Black women are just such beautiful warriors. I think that's the way I see it. I think the women who are taking care of the children by themselves, getting them ready for school, making sure they're in football game, and still trying to have a life for themselves. These are beautiful warriors.
Absolutely.
And I don't think, they get enough credit for for the work they do and what they put into life every day. And so I try to highlight these women.
I love that. Yes, we don't, as Black women, be that if you're mothers or even if you're not mothers, if you're auntie or your cousin or your sister or whatever the case is, Black women, we do not get, we don't get as much shine. And I don't know if it's just the way that our country has been just comprised or just the way of just societal norms. But even if I think back to when they were talking about Black women giving birth and how we're not believed and how we're not given the right medications and stuff, and we're not given all these different things. Look at Serena Williams. Serena Williams she is this international superstar that was giving birth, and her doctor was not listening to her. And she was like, I know my body. I know something's not right. And sure enough, what if she hadn't stepped up and said that?
Exactly.
So it's just...
And how many women do we just trust our doctors and just believe that they, know what's best for us?
Yeah, and don't even think twice about it. Mm-mm.
And there's that subliminal pain that we have in the face because what happened to her happens to us on the daily, where we're not, where we're demarginalized, we're ignored, we're invisible. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot that's why as Black women, we have to rally for each other.
Yeah, got to.
And push each other. We have to. No one else is going to do that for us.
Mm-mm. I believe it. So when is Della going to be available? How are people going to be able to check Della out?
I haven't. We're going to be going into production at the beginning of next year.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be ready for it, Erica. All right.
Yes. Very excited.
Super excited. So you got to come back and we got to talk about post-production, because I know during productions it's going to be kind of hectic. I know how those productions go. So we'll reserve a spot for you after, as you're finished with editing, because I know you'll be pulling your hair out and doing all the different things. So I definitely want to talk to you after that project, it's completed and you guys are getting ready to, to take it on the road and to try it on the different, all the different scales so people can actually support it. So I'm all in for that. And I wanted to talk about Dreams from the Edge. Where did that inspiration come from?
It was very similar to what I was saying about my grandmother and her best friend. Basically, I got a chance to see that dreams don't stop at any age. I think what happens with us a lot of times, we get immersed in our own careers and our own life, and we forget that our mothers and our grandmothers and our great aunts and aunts are still living, and they're not just trying to lift the water and let their light come out of their bodies. We need to make sure that they're still writing that book or writing that poem or taking that art class, and really make sure that they're still thriving. I really think it's our responsibility as Black women to make sure that, because again, we're kind of when they say the invisible man, it's also the invisible woman. Mm-hmm. We're often left, we're having to fight to be, reflected. And so I think that I wanted to write that about a mother who still had dreams, and a lot of the bitterness a lot of times that people are feeling is because they feel like their life is almost over and they didn't get a chance to live it. Because if you can imagine, after the Civil Rights Movement, so many of our parents were just fighting for us to try to have a family, a working class, middle class family. There wasn't anything about dreams. For most people, it's just about surviving and working paycheck to paycheck. Right. And now here you are, you're living your dream, and they're watching you, and they're proud of you. But they didn't get a chance to live theirs. And there is that sadness, that bitterness about that. And so, and then sometimes maybe just sadness, not so much bitterness. But I feel like our job is to just make sure there's not a book left in them. Something, maybe they want to plant flowers. Like, what is it that they want to do? Do they want to, be photographer? Like, let's try to help them to see their dreams. So Dreams from the Edge is about a girl who's trying to break into Hollywood and realizes her mother, who is an actress, played by Bernadette Stanis from Thelma.
What? Yes! Where did that say? What?
Yes.
Y'all got Thelma up there? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
I love it.
And it's about an Alexa Page Roberts. So basically, she's trying to break into Hollywood, and her mother, Bernadette Stanis, is basically a little, not so much, I would say bitter, because she used to be a famous actress, and she doesn't realize she's putting that weight on her daughter. And her daughter's already dealing with some pressures at work by this kind of overbearing boss played by Mark Curry, hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
And so it's a dramedy, and that, Mark is hilarious. And then she has to come home and deal with her mother, who is constantly weighing her down. That's probably a better way to say it.
Wow, I love that. I love it. Okay, and when can we look forward to possibly seeing about that one, Erica?
Dreams in the Edge. If you go to my Instagram page at EricaNicoleMalone.com, again, that's at EricaNicoleMalone.com, you'll see snippets of it. It's around film festivals around the world. And we've already won a couple film festivals, or we've won the Dreamers Film Festival in London, and we were selected for a couple of others. So we're just now starting to hit film festivals, and once that has gone around, and I will make sure it's out for everyone to see.
Yes, I love it. Always working, doing things, making us proud, celebrating our Black Hollywood. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. If I can talk a little bit about Remember Me, Mahalia Jackson.
Yes.
Remember Me, the Mahalia Jackson story. I wrote this in 2017, and I was really excited. Being from the South, she was a big figure in history. Like, you always see Mahalia Jackson on all the black fans of church. Or she'd be on the wall, at your grandmama's house with Dr. King and Malcolm X and Mahalia and Jesus. So, and so she was just such a big figure. And so I wanted to, make sure that the world knew that she was behind the scenes of the civil rights movement, helping, what I call, she was a Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan for Dr. King, helping Dr. King and influencing him. She was like his big sister. And, it's just an amazing film starring Ledisi as Mahalia Jackson. Also, Columbus Short as Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Keith David. We also have Keith Robinson from Dreamgirls. Keith David is from Greenleaf. Janet Huber from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
Corbin Bleu from High School Musical. And Vanessa A. Williams from Soul Food. So it's an amazing cast. Oh, and of course, Wendy Raquel Robinson. I'm sorry. From everything.
Oh, wow.
Including she's amazing. And she's an amazing person, too. But so it's just a wonderful cast, and I'm just really, really, really excited that this to come to life, and I cannot wait for the world to see.
I love it. No, and we are cheering you on, sister. We on the sidelines. Yes, we ready for it to come through. Come through.
So
I love
excited.
it.
So excited.
Last but certainly not least, what advice would you have, Erica, for the next generation of young female writers?
You know what? Just believe in yourself, because this is such a beautiful, important time for Black women.
Yes.
And women of all colors, but definitely Black women right now, because there's a resurgence. It reminds me a lot of the Harlem Renaissance.
Right.
And that Blackness in general is alive and in style. It's always been in style for us.
Right.
It's style for the masses. And so I think now more than ever, if you have I guess socioeconomically, don't feel like, because, whatever place I'm in, I can't get my workout. There's so many ways to get your workout now. You saw what happened with Issa Rae. I think she had a show, I'm saying the title wrong, I think it's Confessions of an Awkward Black Girl.
Yeah, I remember, because I was a fan of it. I loved it. It was The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that was on YouTube, and I think then Starz picked it up, and it did the whole other Starz, HBO. Was it HBO?
Yeah, HBO, girl. Insecure, man. It's the last season. I'm ready.
So, if you think about, she just was just like any of us, and she just put her show up on YouTube.
Yep.
There are no limitations. Hollywood has completely changed. So open. They want to find fresh faces. They want to find that person over in South Carolina that people don't know about. They're looking for the diamond in the rough. So I think just feeling like it is you, and I think the biggest fear isn't the biggest fear is ourselves. Is accepting it's you. Is just accepting. Oh my gosh, it's me. Wait a minute, hold on. I didn't think it was me. Yeah, it's you, honey. It's you. It was always you. And I think accepting, accepting that it's you is the biggest challenge, because the opportunity is out there. If you have the talent, the opportunity is there, and the favor is there, because it'll come to you. It'll come to you. It's meant to come to you. And so that's my advice. And then the last thing I'd say is I'm a big believer in, Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou, had this, at the end of one of her poems, and Still I Rise, she says, bringing the gift that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. And I think remembering, if you think about our history, we didn't have gifts in terms of money.
No.
So what were our gifts? Our gifts were stories, our gifts were talents, going from one generation to the next. Yes. So the hope and the dream of the slave was that they're passing down what they had in them. They were not able to do and to live and to be what you are able to do. But they're giving that to you.
Right.
So this is a huge level of strength here. It's generational strength. It's generational gift. And so that is powerful. And that's in you. So that's what I would say to the young Black writer or the young writer is the gift is in you.
I love it. Erica Nicole Malone, thank you so much for coming through and blessing us with your voice, with your stories, with your inspiration. I love it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. And I mean, I'm just, like I said before, like, I'm already excited to talk about, Della. When that drops, we're ready to talk about that. So you have to come back. I mean, we're just putting that out into the universe.
I will be back. I'll be back. And plus, you're the soundtrack of my life now. So we can talk about it.
I love it. Erica, where can people go if they want to keep up with you and your projects, or if they want to reach out to you? What's the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is on Instagram at Erica with a C and a K, Nicole Malone at Erica Nicole Malone on Instagram.
I love it. You guys heard it first. Much more success to you, my sister. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing out those good projects that we need, that we can connect to. I love it.
I do too. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.